How does ERP change the anxiety cycle, and how do you explain that to someone using this diagram?
Yeah, so exposure and response prevention, it really does, not just help anxiety in the long run, but it really does change the brain. And so if you look at on this left side, this old pattern, it says that there's a trigger. So let's say you have, we'll just take contamination OCD, for example. So maybe you come in contact with germs. So your anxiety goes up, right? Because your brain, for some reason or another, has learned, inaccurately that touching a doorknob is dangerous. So your anxiety goes up. So what do you naturally do? Human beings are created to avoid pain. And anxiety is scary. It's painful. It doesn't feel good. So we avoid it. We either try to stay away from germs, we don't touch doorknobs, or we use safety behaviors. Like we might use our sleeve instead of our hand, or gloves, or a safety behavior would be washing our hands immediately after touching the doorknob. And so what happens there is that immediately when we wash our hands, or immediately when we avoid germs or use our sleeve or something of that nature, our anxiety goes down. I feel a whole lot better. However, unfortunately, what that does is it reinforces to our brain, specifically to our amygdala, that our brain was correct in sending the anxiety response, but the brain was not correct. Touching a doorknob is not typically dangerous. So in the long term, we actually will have more anxiety in the long run because it will reinforce our fear of germs. And it narrows our life in terms of when we won't touch things, we won't go places. And you can expand this to other areas of anxiety, not just germs. But then ERP, what happens is you face that same trigger, your anxiety rises, but instead of running from it, instead of washing our hands, we're going to sit with it. We are going to feel the anxiety. We're going to have the germs. We're going to feel the anxiety. We're not going to do anything to feel better. And at first, when that happens, our anxiety is going to skyrocket. It's going to go up. Our brain's going to say, what are you doing? This is a bad idea. Go wash your hands, right? But it takes about 15 minutes, a little bit longer, for our brain to start to realize when we don't do something to feel better, that it was wrong. That, oh, look, that person is not washing their hands. They're not doing a safety behavior. They're sitting with it. And what we do is we're teaching our brain, I can actually handle this. And oftentimes the feared situation doesn't actually happen. We end up being okay. And so we have new learning that takes place in our brain. And so in the short term, our anxiety will increase, but in the long term, it actually will go down, and we'll be able to do the things in life that anxiety has kept us from doing.
And in terms of what's going on logically in your mind, is it a rewiring, or what's the, even at a high level, what's that going on there?
You could call it rewiring. I think there's new pathways that are being created. What actually happens would be the center that kind of is responsible for taking in information through our five senses. That area sends information to the amygdala, which would be that fight or flight response, but it creates a new pathway. What you could call it more the high road, where that information that's being received in through our five senses, instead of immediately going to the fight, flight, take danger, it sends it more to our prefrontal cortex, where we can really think about the center of mindfulness. But in simplification, basically our brain is learning that trigger is not actually dangerous. I don't actually have to send a fight or flight response to this in the long run.